So I thought I'd show you my latest sewing project, you guys, since you seem to be interested in that kind of thing. Oh yeah, I'm downstairs now. This is interesting because I was upstairs and then it's November and it's November everywhere. I'm an idiot. It's November everywhere, but November down here is usually stinking hot, which means the bedroom upstairs is too hot to sleep in. This is not really a bedroom. It's more like a storage space that we turned into a bedroom because it's cooler and I can actually get a bit of sleep down here. But now it's actually cold because it's got mysteriously cold. So that's interesting. But I'm too lazy to move back upstairs because I'll only have to move down. Anyway, here's my project, guys. It's sort of developing as it goes along. I'm going to come up with some kind of sleeve for it, I think. I think I want sleeves on it, maybe. A lot of the time I don't actually sew with a pattern. Sometimes I might do a design and then I work from my painting, and sometimes I just start chucking fabric on the mannequin and I see what happens, and that's what's happening with this. So I think it's going to have sleeves, but they need to be very tricky because I need it to look correct, and if the sleeve is too much it'll look a bit silly and then I won't want to wear it. But by the same token, I do have a rather vintage aesthetic, so it can certainly have a lot going on before I'm not willing to wear it. Oh, look at this. Isn't this cute? It looks like a mini hat box and I just love it. And I draw your attention to this because I know a lot of my friends out there, I see your posts, I know you're vintage lovers, and I'm like, yes, these are my sorts of people with your vintage finds and your vintage posts and your little pictures full of baking, and I'm like, yes. But of course we won't be doing a meetup anytime, because the other thing I notice about all of us is we do have a tendency to be a little on the introverted side, don't we? The fact that I'm yapping on camera should deceive no one. I am actually in this room alone, and I always get more chatty when I'm by myself. So yes, I thought you'd like to see that. And I don't know what kind of sleeves I'm going to do. I don't know if they're going to be long or short or runched or straight or what. I suppose largely it will come down to what I can manage, because I'm quite ambitious with my sewing machine, but I don't always manage to get the look I'm going for. But in the meantime, I think that's rather cute. You're bringing them through for a little...
Come on. Time for you to have a little trundle around.
Don't worry, guys. Patches is fine. He's with the grandmother because stinking Sheila decided she just wasn't going to feed him, and he got all psychologically traumatized to the point he wouldn't even try and drink milk because she was going to kick him. So, and then we let the grandma take him because we were so desperate, but we made the right decision because it turns out the grandma's actually got kittens that she was hiding, so now she's just feeding Patches as well. So that's his best chance, and we've been left with Joseph and Pooh One, because they're big enough to make her feed them whether she wants to or not. And frankly, she probably doesn't. She's an awful mother, isn't she, Mum?
Oh, dreadful.
Shocking. Definitely, Stinkin' Sheila's definitely a shoo-in for the world's worst mother this year.
Oh, dreadful. Most neglectful.
Absolutely shocking. Has no pity on her own offspring, just wants to go back to being an offspring.
Oh.
And do you know, Mum, the other day, she picked up one of the kittens from my lap and chucked it on the couch, and I was like, oh good, she's trying to be a mother, she's taking her kitten back, and then she just jumped into my lap.
Oh, I know.
She just wants to be a kitten.
She does.
She's disgusting.
She does it to me too.
It's disgusting. Where is Sheila?
Oh, I don't know. She'll be in the kitchen seeing if there's any food in there.
Let's go and find the worthless one, shall we, you guys? We're so cross. Hello. When we realised she was kicking Patches away and wasn't feeding him, I know it's irrational, you guys, because she's just an animal, but I was so angry. I was so angry. And then he got all dehydrated, and I had to give him just a tiny bit of water from a syringe. Not a lot, because you don't want to fill them up with water, but just enough to get his strength up. And then that gave him the confidence to drag himself to his grandmother, and she rescued him. So I'm actually very angry with this cat, which I know isn't rational. And of course, we're not being cruel to her or anything, but oh, she's so awful. Oh, and this is Mum's work. What a lovely, tidy room, Mum.
Oh.
Is this your next murder book?
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't tell the name of it. This one's going to be a good one though, guys.
It is.
This one's based on a true story. And you guys, it's got a ghost in it and it's good. And I've heard the start and the hook is probably the best hook Mum's ever written. And even Rachel, who doesn't tend to comment on things like that, she said it was pretty amazing. Where have they gone?
Oh, I don't know. I think they're under the couch. They're under the couch.
Anyway, they're finding the paper mountains of Mum's.
The plastic bags are giving them
A challenge.
Yeah, they sometimes slip on them. Their little back feet will go out. It's hilarious. It's good for their brain.
Yeah.
The mat's good for their brain too. They think it's flowers sometimes.
We have to bring them out for their tummy time because their mother doesn't stimulate them at all, which means, oh, there's one under the couch. They just sit in the basket and, oh, you guys, the only time she feeds them is when she's so bored she thinks it's the best piece of entertainment. And I said to Mum, I'm really grateful that when I was a baby, she actually fed me when I needed it, not when there was nothing more interesting to do. Shocking. Hello. Hello, Pooh One. Anyone out there want to suggest a more dignified name for Pooh One? So, you guys, do you like jacaranda trees in full bloom? I certainly do. And there's one across the road that's quite magnificent. We might go looking for jacaranda trees. There's quite a few around the neighbourhood. Actually, oh look, there's a butterfly. You guys, it's been the most amazing season for butterflies. And I have just, oh, he's gone. I've just loved it because I just adore butterflies. I think they're so pretty. Oh. I wish another one would fly there. Anyway, these yellow flowers, I'm not sure what they're called, but oh, aren't they gorgeous? Anyway, I love, and they attract the butterflies. I absolutely love butterflies. And guys, look at that. Look at that stunning purple jacaranda across the road. Isn't that gorgeous? Don't you just love jacarandas? Actually, guys, if you don't love jacarandas, I'll be more interested because I think that would be a more unique stance. So if you hate jacarandas, let me know why. There's some more of our yellow things. I think they're probably in the daisy family. In a previous life I did study horticulture and botany. I didn't actually get qualified in it, but I did study it. And they taught us that you usually can work these things out by the structure of the flower, and I think there is some kind of daisy flower. Makes quite a good cut flower. It looks delicate, but lasts quite well in a vase. And this thing here, it's so poisonous, you guys, but oh my gosh, it smells so edible. When all these purple blossoms come out, it smells incredible. And gosh, wouldn't they look lovely by these yellow flowers? And do you know what? This is the tree that Dad hacked back in the middle of the winter, you know, and Mum was like, oh no, all upset. But it's bouncing back, and actually the added space under the garden has actually enabled other things to spring up, so it's all ended up being quite good. Oh, here come our little agapanthus. They will be exploding into blue quite soon, or white. I rather hope they're blue because they'll go better with the overall colour, but let's be honest, guys, white's not going to be bad either. And more of these stunning bright cherry yellow daisy things, which, as I say, just attract the butterflies, and I adore butterflies. They're just so pretty. Do you know what I want one day? I want to see the kind of butterflies they have in the Amazon. You know, the big giant ones. Of course, this would involve going to the Amazon, and I would like to see the butterflies in the Amazon because I hear they're very giant and huge, and I would love that. But I also know the snakes are very giant and huge, and I would not love that. And I think on the whole, the Amazon sounds kind of scary, you guys. But for the giant butterflies, I might consider a little venture there, because maybe if I went with someone very brave who could be like, oh, don't worry, the snakes aren't going to get you. Sometimes I need that. I need someone to tell me to just not be ridiculous and not be scared of everything. Because honestly, guys, I'm scared of lots of things, but I'm not scared of yellow flowers or giant butterflies. Oh, and isn't our alyssum doing marvellously? Our roses are looking a bit spent. I need to go in there and deadhead them, guys. And that's basically one of the few things I will do. I will deadhead roses and occasionally give them a little spray to keep the aphids under control. But on the whole, I tend to let Mum and Dad do the... What am I saying on the whole for? No, this is exactly what I do. I let Mum and Dad do all the digging and the planning and the mulching and the composting, all the hard stuff. And then I just wander around and pick the bits that look good. And speaking of things that look good, let me show you something really, really yummy. Oh, that's going to be gorgeous when it explodes into flowers. But no, that's not it. I have something that's interesting for eating. You guys, Dad's put in 2 more rhubarbs because I said, Dad, if you get rhubarbs, I'll be able to make you some delicious little rhubarb slurries, because when they're in England, one of their friends cooked them these delicious rhubarb slurries to have on their porridge, and they loved it. And I said, oh, I could probably manage that, Dad. Of course, that one's not going so well. They're small. Oh, there's a potato. Looks like we're going to have a great potato harvest. And look at this, guys. This grew over the fence and rooted itself in our garden. I was so happy. And it's a passion fruit. And have you seen the price of passion fruits in the supermarket? We certainly won't be getting any if we don't grow them. So we've encouraged it along this old piece of pool railing because they're very delicious, but they're not worth paying for. But if you get them for free, hey. Oh, so here is our big yummy rhubarb. Oh, yes. Think of all the pies I'll be able to get out of that. Think of all the muffins. Well, I should probably be careful because the last time I cooked a whole lot of muffins, Mum and Dad were in the UK and I ate them all by myself without them at all. And it was very fun and very happy until my skirts got too tight. And then I realised you can't actually eat a whole family's quota of rhubarb muffins without unpleasant things happening, which I think is very unfair, and I wish that wasn't the case, but it isn't. Oh, our lavender's looking quite spent. I really should get out here and dehead it, you guys, because then I'll get more. Oh, but it's coming up to the end of the year, so I've got like 1,000 things to get all done, you know, because I like to have everything squared away by the end of the year. At least that's the plan. Ooh, I think we're going to get some good agapanthus this year. Oh, and guys, da, 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 da. Look at all our potatoes, our delicious potatoes. Oh, they're actually looking a bit thirsty. Maybe Dad didn't put the water on this morning, so I will, because I love potatoes. There's nothing quite like fresh potatoes, and these are going to be so delicious. Oh, and before I put on the sprinkler system, I shall show you. Oh, our grass isn't doing very well, is it? I told Dad I don't think the sprinkler thing reaches it, and I've told him if he just removes that, I'm happy to water it by hand because I want a nice grass lawn, primarily because I'd rather film it than a nasty one. Oh, look at these little, I think they're petunias. They make me think of, you know, the trumpet on a gramophone, like the one we've got inside, and I have this little drawing in my head where these mice are listening to a gramophone record, but that's actually the horn of it. I think that could be quite cute. I get a lot of my artistic inspiration from the garden and out in nature. Ooh, is this a lemon tree? I did canvas for a lemon and I was told one was not necessary. Oh, it's probably lemonade, a cross between an orange and a lemon. They are tasty, but there's nothing quite like lemon trees for baking, in my opinion. Oh yes, isn't that coming in marvellous? Absolutely beautiful, but I don't like, we seem to have some kind of beastly mould on the pig face, which was meant to explode into enormous pink flowers, but instead we got this sort of beastly mould. But the daisies are nice. Anyway, you guys, now, you will remember in an earlier version, I was planting 500 sunflower seeds. It was going to be 1,000, and then Dad accidentally went and pricked my conscience by buying me that beautiful plastic sunflower, and I didn't feel I could plant the other 500, and because he hates them. And in any case, I found this exhausting. But I think that I planted them too close together, which is entirely possible, you guys. This is why I prefer to let Mum and Dad take care of the practical element of gardening. I'm not very good at it. So, but what was I supposed to do? Because if I'd given Dad the task of planting my 500 sunflower seeds, he wouldn't have. And he would have set things. And he would have got a lot less generous about the idea of me planting sunflowers, because he didn't know I was planning on 500. But, well, I suppose I'll learn for next year. Although realistically, I don't think I'm going to survive in those sort of clumps. I wonder if I can sort of, you know, thin them out. Well, I won't be doing it at the moment because it's actually getting quite hot. It's going to be quite a hot day, but I'm not complaining because the last few nights have been so chilly. I've actually had a hot water bottle. And in Australia, to have a hot water bottle in November It's really extraordinary stuff. I think I better turn the watering system on, eh? You're supposed to do this before the sun gets up so high, but it's not so bad, so I'll just pop it on. Give it a little squirt, I think. Yes, that's sounding very good. Ah, yes. And we have a wonderful water spike in the middle of our rhubarb, hence its healthy look. It's a bog plant, you know, guys. You've got to get them absolutely soaked. And extraordinarily enough, we never managed to grow one properly till we came to the deserty land of Australia. And then we took watering it seriously. And now we have lots of rhubarb. Yummy. Hello all, it's Ruthie. Well, this week's vlog is going to be a bit on the skimpy side. So I thought I'd just hop on here and have a little chat to you while I have a nice cup of tea. Because it might be a little bit harder to chat to you for the next little bit, because I live in Australia and we are now heading strongly into summer. We may even officially be in summer. I'm not quite sure what the official date is. Anyway, the point is that in Australia and New Zealand, our holiday and vacation season, they correspond. So it's kind of hectic moving forward from about the 3rd week of November in Australia and New Zealand. Things start to get really crazy, because we're also going into summer. On top of going on into the festive season, we're also going into summer, which means that we have people visiting, or we might be visiting people, or people going away on vacation. So if you're finding me a little bit hard to get in touch with, or I'm not as responsive as I like to be, there you go. Them's the breaks of dealing with someone in Australia, when both our holiday and vacation season land on the same part of the year. Awfully sensible how you separate it out in the northern hemisphere, but of course that's not really an option for us. So yes, I just thought I'd pop on here and have a little chat, because otherwise this is going to be an awfully dull blog. And I wanted to do some baking today. I wanted to do some of my chocolate Rice Krispie treats, because they're really easy to do, and I thought they'd be really delicious. But when I went and checked the pantry, someone had thrown them out. And I strongly suspect that someone is Dad, because he would have gone through the cereals and he would have seen it and he would have been like, oh, this isn't very healthy or nutritional. Who's going to eat this? And of course he's completely right, but it's sort of a key ingredient. Well, it is a key ingredient in chocolate Rice Krispie treats. And I should have so much liked to have made some to show you, but well, it's probably just as well I didn't, because Mum and Dad are currently on a big health kick. I mean, it's the holiday season coming up, so, it's probably sensible. But I am not on a big health kick. So, realistically, had I made myself a batch of chocolate Rice Krispie treats, I probably would have eaten them all by myself. And although I'm entirely capable of doing that, might be better if I didn't. Anyway, the other thing I thought I'd tell you, because I keep meaning to write to my very good friend Marion. Hello Marion, yes you are, and again a topic of conversation, because you're very important to me, to tell her this, but I keep not getting around to it. And I thought, guys, it will probably amuse you too. So part of being a very imaginative person is sometimes I have these extremely vivid dreams, and I categorize dreams into 3 categories. There's like, sometimes I have actually had dreams that I believe are spiritual. They're quite rare. And then I've had dreams that, well, sometimes you get up at midnight and you're like, the leftover Chinese is in the fridge and it's speaking to you. That can give you a very strong sort of dream, but you don't want to plot your life off the back of the kind of dream that you get from consuming spring rolls at 1 o'clock in the morning. That would just give you a very strange sort of life, I think. And then there's a third kind of dream that comes from just being a creative, imaginative type, and this is the kind of dream I had involving Marion Gredco. So I thought you could all have a good laugh at it, because it was absolutely horrendous, because I thought it was literally happening to me, and it was terrifying. So, in this dream, right, I was in Sydney, and I jumped on a train, And on the whole, I'm pretty good at using the Sydney train system. I mean, I suppose fairly good is a relative statement. I have been known to get 3 hours away in the opposite direction of where I'm aiming from, but we're not discussing that. On the whole, I can get myself around the Sydney train system, which I think is pretty impressive considering that I'm quite challenged in these areas. Anyway, so in this dream, guys, I hopped on a train in Sydney and it was getting darker, but I wasn't worried because I was in the Sydney train system, and like I say, I can get around Sydney, and even if I get lost, I just get on a train and I go back to Central, and then I can sort it out. So that's the thing with my dreams. I tend to be very logical in my approach. Like, I don't stop being logical, but it doesn't really work because I have these bizarre problems and my logic doesn't work in the dream. Anyway, the train stops at the station and I get out at the station. It's actually dusk by now and I'm like, I really want to get home, you know. I like to pack myself away quite early. I don't like traipsing about once it gets to dusk. Anyway, so I'm looking around like, I don't recognise this train station. And then I see this lady on the end of the platform. I was like, I'll go and ask her where I am. So I go up to this lady in my dream and I'm like, excuse me, what part of Sydney am I in? And she says to me, you're not in Sydney, you're in New York. And in the dream, you guys, I really thought I was in New York. I said, what? She's like, yeah, you're not in Sydney, you're in New York. This is a New York train station. And I was like, because you guys, I am a chronic overthinker and an overplanner. And when I travel, I am bordering on OCD. I keep opening my bag, checking for my passport, opening my bag, checking for my ticket, opening my bag, checking for my wallet. It's like open, shut, open, shut. And I get no sense of peace and I have to keep checking. And I am so careful when I travel about having everything. So in this dream, I literally think I'm in New York and I literally think, so I'm checking for my passport and I'm checking for my wallet and I'm checking and I can't find it. And I was so mad too. I was like, what sort of idiot let me get on an international flight without a passport? Someone wasn't doing their job on the other end. And then I was like, and how did I get through border control in America? Some people are being very irresponsible, I thought to myself in my dream. Anyway, I was spinning out and then it was getting dark and I had no wallet and I had no passport and I was so scared. This is not good. And then I was like, what part of New York am I in? And she told me the name of the place and I was like, I know where that is. That's where Marion Grudko lives. Oh, well, that's a relief. And I thought, but I don't know where Marion Grudko lives. And then I was like, wait a minute. In my head. Like I say, I'm very logical in my dreams. I was like, Marion's a writer and Marion often runs events at the library. So I said, do you know where the library is? And she's like, yes. And then I don't know how it happened because up to that point she had been extremely unhelpful and frankly a bit sneering that I thought I was in Sydney when I was actually in New York, although really you can't really blame her for that. Anyway, she suddenly got helpful. That's the thing with dreams, they can turn very quickly. And she's like, I could drive you to the library if you like. I was like, oh, that would be great. So as she's driving me along, I'm thinking, this is such a long shot. This is such a long shot. And then we get to the library and all the lights are on. And I went in and what do you think? There was Marion doing a reading of her book, Claudine. And she's like, Ruthie, how did you get here? And I said, I don't know. It's absolutely horrible. I got on a train in Sydney and somehow I ended up in New York and I've got no passport and no wallet. And what am I going to do? This just goes to show that I definitely have some very sensible friends, even in the realm of dreams, because she did not ask me any stupid questions about how I managed to pull off such a stunt. She just, and I said, I don't know where I'm going to go. And she's like, well, you can just come home with me and we'll sort it out in the morning. And I was like, oh, thank you. I think that would be really lovely. And then I woke up and I was like, oh, what an insane dream. And guys, I was completely spinning out during this dream. And it was a great relief to wake up. Although actually the dream got quite nice because I got to see my friend. But it was very horrible when I thought I'd managed to catch a train from Sydney to New York. It was really messing with my mind. So there you go. And I don't know how that even happened because on this particular occasion, I can tell you, I hadn't actually been eating leftover Chinese takeaways, because that's a very good way to bring on a strange dream. Anyway, that is my strange little story. I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope it gave you a good laugh. And I do hope, if I'm not responding to your messages and comments in the most responsive manner, speedy manner, please bear with me. It is because I am down in Australia, and when we talk about the silly season down here, we really mean it, because it's twice as silly as in the Northern Hemisphere, because of course it's also our going away and having visitor season. So you see, I shall be quite busy, but I shall keep trying to put out regular vlogs, and hopefully next week I will have some delicious baking to show you. And I think in future I might put a big label on my rice bubbles that says, "These are Ruth's, please do not throw them away," because I really would like some chocolate Rice Krispie treats, but it's too hot to walk to the supermarket, so I think that's what I'm going to do. Anyway, yeah, I suppose I shall wish you a very happy weekend from the staff at ZealAus Publishing in Rosebank House. That's just me, Mum, Dad, Stinkin' Sheila and the kittens, because the house lion has abandoned us. He doesn't like children, so I suppose he'll come back when they're a bit older, and then he'll teach them who's boss. So thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I'll talk to you next week.